are perfect now, this minute. He glanced sternly at each of us, as if ready to argue with anyone who dared dispute this statement. Perfect, he repeated forcefully. Nothing wrong with your body, nothing wrong with your face, nothing wrong even with the things you've done so far in this life. Nothing. Who doesn't think this is true? My guess is that no one in the room thought it was true, but such was the force of the man's belief in what he was saying, so sure and clear was his voice, that no one raised a hand. We were all perfect. For half a second, maybe some of us even believed that. Good, Rinpoche said, and then the stern wall of his face broke apart, and he laughed. Chuckled might be a better word, an elegant riff of small puffs of amusement, of appreciation for the fact that all of us were sitting there, basically starting things off on a false note by not raising our hands. Good, he repeated. Another thoughtful sip of tea. And then relative view. Who knows what is? A very large red-headed woman in the first row raised her hand, and when he nodded at her, she said, In the relative way we're all fat. Rinpoche threw back his head and laughed, an uproarious laugh this time, abundant joy. Not exactly the kind of reaction you'd expect in a traditional weight loss clinic, but traditional wasn't a label that fit the man. He was a monk, yes, but even his Buddhism, of Tibetan lineage via a South Siberian upbringing, did not quite graze within the customary pastures of that faith. He nodded, let the laugh play itself out in another small run of chuckling. Fet, he said, moving one hand in circles along his tight belly. This is why we here, yes? Yes, a half-dozen people answered, and for a few seconds we seemed to be, if not exactly happy about being overweight, then at least not tormented by it, not carrying around with us, in addition to the extra poundage, the harsh judgments of our fanatical society, the years of insults, real or imagined, external or internal. Every celebrity, every sporting event, every advertisement, every magazine cover, all of it conspired to form an ongoing taunt. We were chubby, plump, overweight, fat, obese, semi-disgusting. We should be ashamed. So now what we going to do this 10 week, Rinpoche went on, is we going to take the absolute and make it so the relative matches up and looks to us almost same. Okay? You listen to me exactly. You do what I say exactly. 10 weeks from now, if you still feel the relative way, you don't pay 0. If you feel the absolute way, maybe you go out for pizza and the beer with Rinpoche, okay? Any question? The same woman in the front row raised her hand. Sir, she began, with all respect, I have been fat for as long as I can remember. 30 years, 40 years maybe. Before I started school, I was fat. And in 2.5 months I won't be? That seems impossible. Maybe so, Rinpoche admitted. 10 weeks, not much time, you're right. Maybe we fail. He laughed again, as if the idea of failure was so unlikely that it amused him. But maybe we talk, you and me, when we finish, and we see how you're doing, okay? She nodded skeptically, and there was a skeptical stirring in the room. I could feel it in myself. It sounded ridiculously too good to be true. Even the modest fee, $200 for those who could afford it, half that or less for those who could not, paid not upon enrollment, but upon completion, seemed, at that moment, like part of a scam. I knew Rinpoche well, knew firsthand all the good he'd done, and if I suspected